So as you've heard in the previous video, the main.tex file, the name already discloses this, is the main document of your source code. So here we define which document class we are using, which packages we are importing, and this is where the document begins and ends. So the document class we specify is report, and this entails a certain layout of all the pages, which relates to spacing between chapter names, but also the chapter names themselves. So as we see here on the right, on the compiled document, chapter number 4 is called referencing and graphing. Then we have a section 4.1 and a section 4.2. Now these sections, as you can see, are by standard on a smaller font size and also have a certain set distance between the section name and the illustration, or here the section name and the text. So this is my preference, and there are also other options, but I'll share those in a link in the description of this video. The next thing that we'll look at is this statement on line 2, use package paper. Now this paper refers to the paper.st file that we see right here. Within this file you see that here the first line states provides package paper, so this is referred to in the main. And below here you see all kinds of packages that are imported in this document in order to make everything that we state in the compiled document work. So all these statements differ in complexity. Some are really standard, for example use package English Babel, which is simply a spell checker for our written English. Now I'll not go into depth about this package file right now, but later on in future videos when we discuss a subject, I will also make note of when we are using a certain package for a certain goal. Alright, so we've had the first line and the second line of the main, and now let's take a look at the rest of the lines in the main, but with a bit higher tempo. So the statement on line 3 as well as the statements on line 6 and 7 are all commands that help us with the spacing of text in the document. If you'd like to see their impact on the document, simply remove those and see what happens. Then on line 8 we see include title page. The rest I think is very logical. Of course, when you first specify title page, this will be the order. If you then say first the abstract, then the preface, that's the order that the main will import all these pages into your compiled document. So let's now take a look at the more peculiar statements in this list. For example, this page style empty. This statement is related to the page numbering. So the page style empty means that on this page we will not have any page numbering, because we don't want a page number on our title page. Then we set two counters, the section depth and the table of contents depth, both to 3. So as we just talked about the depth of our chapters, we first have a chapter level 1, then we have a section level 2, and we have a subsection level 3. But if we would, for example, specify a subsection, we choose not to define those, and we choose not to include those in our table of contents. So that wouldn't work right now. If you would like to include those, change this number to 4, and the other way around. If you would like to not include subsections in your table of contents or in your document at all, change this number to 2. Then we specify the page style abstract, and we say that the page numbering is Roman. So as you will see here, the page numbering is in Roman numbers, I, double I, etc. Then we say ship out null, which simply says, okay, we're going to start from 0 again. And this is done because otherwise title page and this blank page before the abstract would count towards this numbering, and this would already be number 3. We then import the abstract, the preface, then we have a table of contents, and then we have a list of figures. And after the list of figures something interesting happens, because the list of tables is simply the only statement after the list of figures. But there are a couple extra lines defined over here. We begin a group and we end the group, and within this group we say let clear page relax with a vertical spacing of 1.5 centimeters at the list of tables. Now by default the list of tables would be imported on the next page, but because we don't have a lot of figures, only 3, and we don't have any tables, I decided to have those on the same page. So I decided with this statement, let clear page relax, to not have an additional page for the list of tables. Alright, well then this speaks for itself. This is the input of all the chapters, and then we have the bibliography. Now the bibliography is simply this statement, bibliography references.bib. This is where you import all the references, and you can find a separate video on how to do that. Then statement page style references specifies which page style is applied to the bibliography. Here we call this references, but there's a separate video dedicated to different page styles. Then here we say the bibliography style, which is APA-like, and there are multiple different options that you have for your bibliography and the way it's cited within the text. For example, if you would like to have numbers, or maybe you would like the surname of the author with the year, so that's APA, but I'll put the link in the description of the video so you can see what other custom methods there are. And then on line 32 we see bib name, which we call references over here. You can adjust that at will as well. Maybe if you want to call it bibliography, for example. Lastly, we see the input of the appendixes, and like all segments of this report, the appendixes also have their own page numbering, which is specified within that file. So here you say page style appendix, and then they set the counter back again to page number 1. Alright, so this is the foundation for the rest of the tutorial series. Now you know how a large document is structured within LaTeX and how the main calls all these files to the compiled document. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.